What's happening, everybody? It's Eric J. Olson coming at you live once again for our Lunchtime Live. And today I'm really excited because it's been a little in the doing. Like it's taken us a little while, me and Sarah, to kind of connect. This is probably about 2 or 3 months in the planning, but we have Sarah Jane here from the Civic Leadership Institute. So welcome to the show, Sarah.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time. Well, let's start off, Sarah. Can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Absolutely. I am originally from England. I should just point that out. So if you don't understand me, that's the whole reason why. I moved over here in 2002, and I currently serve as president and CEO for Civic Leadership Institute, which is a wonderful organization that engages leaders across the region to tackle some of the really complex issues in the region. We have a 8-month-long program that they come together and they learn about the challenges and opportunities in Hampton Roads. And then at the end of it, they become Civic alumni and they still remain engaged in the community. And so it's a great way for us to be able to connect those executive leaders to try to advance things in the region, especially some of these really complex issues that are out there.
Yeah. And, you know, we were discussing beforehand that I know several members that have gone through. Do you call them members or students?
We do. They're members. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
well, some of them might want to be students, right? We're lifelong students.
People that have gone through the program and have graduated, alumni, and they speak very highly of what they learned and what they were exposed to. And these are people that have lived here for many, many years. And they just didn't realize that there was so much kind of behind the scenes activity. So it sounds like, there's certainly a lot of education that goes into it as well as action. How does an actual civic class kind of like work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, the class members will come together usually one time a month, and we'll bring together amazing speakers from across the region. And so we will tackle different subjects as we go through the program year, anything from, for example, health and human services to transportation issues, looking at the education system, looking at the key economic drivers in the region like hospitality, and obviously our military is a huge component of that as well. And so we're fortunate enough that we're able to bring these amazing speakers together. The program itself is very focused on allowing the class to actually engage in conversation with these leaders that come in and talk about their role in the community. Because what we find is that, there could be a complex issue that's out there, and then our class are able to communicate some of their skills and their passions. And sometimes that even can help the speakers with what they're working on. So it's all about connecting. This year in particular, obviously with the pandemic, we have been in a virtual format. I was just saying to you earlier on how impressed I am with the Civic class of 2021 for their resiliency. They have been attending all day long Zoom meetings with a lot of different speakers being pushed at them every single day. But some of the feedback that we've been receiving from people is that they, outside of their silo, when they're in work, they are absolutely focused on what they do each and every day. And they don't realize some of the other things. For example, in the military, if you don't work in the military, you don't have access to the gates of the military, going through the gates. You don't know what happens behind there. It's its own city. But they also rely heavily on the community as well. And so those relationships and building those relationships really does help our region, remain strong and to continue to grow stronger as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. I did a couple of years of DoD contracting work, so I was, on base here and there, and it is a different world. And since I stopped doing that about 8 years ago. I haven't been on the base since. So it's one of those things you drive by and you'll see like the aircraft carriers when you go over the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel, and you're like, oh, that's beautiful. but yeah, you don't realize all the infrastructure that goes behind that, and how much the community actually plays a part in those activities as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they are protecting our nation and they need the community support in order for them to be able to complete their mission. So we play an important role, and that synergy between the two is really crucial, honestly, for their success as well.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right. So let's maybe if we could let's talk a little bit about the concept of do you call them cohorts? The groups of people that come through?
Yeah, the class we call them classes, but they're a cohort of executives that come together. And I should say we actually have two programs that we run. We have an executive level leadership program. These are presidents and CEOs of companies here in the region. And then we also have a program for called CIVIC Scholars, which is right now for ODU and TCC students. We're actually housed. My office right here is on Monarch Way, so we're housed right here on campus. And so it allows the students access to our offices and to our team as well. Our goal is to try to help to build leaders and build their leadership early on. I mean, if you're a student on campus, you probably don't realize that you actually could have a seat at the table and you too could make an impact in the region. And if you start that early on, and especially with connections as well, it's not just about teaching them about leadership, it's helping them to remain connected. The hope is that they'll decide that Hampton Roads is the place they want to stay, and then we can eliminate that brain drain that's happening. We have so many different amazing assets in this community, and we need the young, talented folks coming out of college to stay here. They're the next generation of leaders. So it's exciting.
Yeah, I didn't know about that program until recently when you picked your date and the company found out about it. And one of our employees, Shannon J, she's like, "Oh,
That's right.
I went through the scholar or the student program," and I was like, "Oh, what's that all about?" She kind of explained it to me, and talk about a very talented person staying here in Hampton Roads. That's fantastic, and I hope she stays for a long time.
I do too, and it's been amazing to watch her grow, and she is very, very talented, and all of our students are, and they're committed as well. They're already engaged doing community service pieces, but they're really hungry to learn more about the community and to find where they can fit in to help. And I think if you can tap into that early enough, that's a really key part of this.
What about like mentoring the students? Is that something that kind of happens between the executive group and the students?
We do, absolutely, yeah. So we actually have a program called Mentor Link, and so our students are connected usually with some of our CIVIC alumni, but and we try to pair them up based on personalities and also on what the line of work is that the student is hoping to go into. But the truth of the matter is, mentorship can happen at any given point. I have several different mentors that help me each and every day, and I'm incredibly grateful for them. And I think that's really where businesses can actually benefit from that if they try to perhaps even establish a mentor program within their own companies. Because when you start to help emerging leaders find their way and they know that they have somebody they can rely on and they can bounce ideas off of, you're building that trust and that relationship, and that helps them to also become more confident, which is what I was saying earlier on about Shannon. I'm impressed with how confident she is, and that really does speak volumes to yourself and your team that you've helped her to be able to grow in that as well. So I think mentorship is a really key part of any kind of business world or any organization. You have the opportunity to help somebody else to really learn and to find their way and to become their own leader in their own right. And if you've been in a career path for a very long time, you've probably seen some things that you can try and help them to avoid. So it's key. I think mentorship is a key thing.
Completely agree. And I think it's very important to be open to mentoring people and to being mentored, regardless of how far in your career you are. I heard a saying once about a true leader can lead and be led. And I think that's important to recognize that there's always something to be learned. There's always someone else that you may want to learn from. I have trusted advisors that I go to all the time, but besides that, even if they're not senior level trusted advisors, there's folks like in the company and other agency owners that I turn to all the time, asking them questions and advice and saying, hey, I messed up on this. How did you handle this particular problem? So there's so many opportunities to learn from others, to get better yourself, and then also to avoid the mistakes that they've made that they'll share with you. You just have to ask.
Absolutely. It's all about collaboration, right? I mean, I talked to you all about, I like to think of things in the 3 C's. So you've got community, you've got collaboration, and then, of course, you've got connections as well. And so I think that, for collaborating as a team, mentoring is part of that. It's helping people to feel like they can have a seat at the table, that they can have a say. And in our community in particular, there's always been this thing that people say, we don't collaborate here in the 757. We actually do. And I think one of the really amazing things that I have watched during the pandemic is the amount of collaboration that has happened and the amount of people who have reached out across, the board to really help other organizations to succeed. We're honest. I mean, we are all in this together. The pandemic has been incredibly hard. And it's been hard on businesses. It's been hard on our community. It's been hard on our children. And so to find ways to be able to work together is only going to make our region that much more stronger and a place where people want to move to. People will want to come here. We've got great quality of life. This is a wonderful place to live. But it's also important to know that there are a lot of people working behind the scenes right now to make sure when we exit out of the pandemic stage, we're in that recovery effort mode, that there are people there that are working to make sure there's a solid foundation for businesses in particular, but also for the community as well to be able to recover from this. So, it's tough. It really is.
Well, I'm sure the alumni from the different classes have all pitched in during this hard period. And I'm also sure that each of the classes would say that they're probably the best class ever. As a matter of fact, look at this comment right here from Stephanie Gorham.
That's
CIVIC class
right.
2019 apparently is the best class ever. It's right there in black and white.
It's said, and so it's done. Yes, Stephanie, and honestly, actually, I think Stephanie would say that she's also the best of the best class.
There you go. There you go.
So yeah. Actually, a big shout out to Stephanie. I know that she has been on the show, but Volunteer Hampton Roads does an amazing job of connecting people in the community. They really are a great connector. And so especially when it comes down to helping businesses to really bring their teams together, perhaps to do some volunteer work and everything. So Volunteer Hampton Roads is doing great things out there. So thanks, Stephanie. You are the best class for now. Until
she agrees. This is true. Wow.
It's right. It's true. We have a lot of fun. I will say our alumni are very fun.
Well, if another class doesn't jump in here and represent themselves, then this live broadcast is going to go down with the fact that 2019 is the best class ever. So
that's right. Now, don't be deleting those comments, Stephanie.
And we have another comment here from Elizabeth Duncan Hawker. Hello, everyone. Totally agree on mentors. Build confidence and skills. I rose to the top because I had 3 mentors early in my career, life guiding my path, and many in my Red Hawk entrepreneur world. Very grateful. Sorry, Elizabeth, that I butchered that. I'm not wearing my glasses, and I should be, but I have a ring light here, and
no, I think she's right on there. I mean, it's key, and I think that we all have a responsibility. Honestly, I think that's something that we can easily do to give back. And again, it doesn't have to be time consuming. You can do it as part of your everyday work. But mentoring is we have alumni who come back to us and say, I have to tell you, Sarah Jane, that I think I got more out of the mentorship experience than the mentee did, because you learn so much as well from another generation. I think that that's key, is that cross-pollination of generations. And that's how we really are going to help the next generation of leaders to be able to step in and take off from where the leaders are right now. I mean, that's the continuity of it, which is wonderful.
The best way to learn is to teach.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Like Elizabeth says right here, pay it forward.
Pay it forward. That's exactly right.
Speaking of kind of paying it forward, I saw this insert here. Let me back it up a little.
I'm glad you got that.
Yeah, I've been hanging on to it for this very moment. So this was in Inside Business, and if you're not familiar with Inside Business, it's the business journal that comes out once a week here in the Norfolk, Virginia Beach area. And so this was sent to all of the subscribers. I think there's something like 17,000 or 20,000 subscribers last I heard. And yeah, I was looking through it, and there's some really impressive things. I mean, first of all, this is impressive. This message from you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I meant every word of it too.
No, it's really nice. But I was looking through some of these community impact initiatives, and I'd like to talk about some of these if we could. So the first one is Campus 757.
Yes, Campus 757. That's an exciting project. So I'll just backtrack just slightly, if you don't mind, so I can help everybody to understand. So most leadership programs around the country, they do what they call group projects. And, you have got already a fabulous audience for that. So they will tackle different types of issues. We classify our group projects as community impact initiatives. We're hopeful that we're able to take some of these really large initiatives that are happening in the region and help to basically integrate our class members into that, in the hopes that in the future their skills and their passions will continue to work on those projects and help guide them forward. We try, if we can, to find projects that have longevity, which means that we can also connect future classes, which is wonderful. It's a nice way to be able to collaborate between the different class years. But some of these projects were listed. Our class of 2020 did a wonderful job. Again, they also were resilient because we had the pandemic hit towards the end of their year, which is when they were finalizing their projects. And so they did a great job of wrapping up what they could under the circumstances, and they handed it to this year's class. Campus 757 is a really unique opportunity, and I will say the Hampton Roads Workforce Council has taken this on, and it's a way for us to be able to engage students that are going to be stepping into the workforce and those that are in internship programs to really understand what this community has. Again, it's very focused on that brain drain and keeping that talent right here, or bringing external talent in. They see what we have here and they decide they want to stay. So it's, again, a really great focus for students that are maybe about to step out, and just to work out exactly, what is Hampton Roads? Like, that's right there is, what do you mean? It's all these different cities and municipalities joined together. Something as basic as that, and helping them to understand how the region works will help them to be able to engage earlier on too. So Campus 757 is a project we're pretty proud of, and we're working on it again this year. We're trying to work out the sustainability plan. So that's what we're helping the Hampton Roads Workforce Council out with that.
Very cool. Excellent. All right. The next one, actually, I know that this list here of the five are not necessarily your current initiatives, but I'm interested in talking about broadband a little bit.
Yes. So, we have those subsea cables that came across, and what an amazing opportunity. And could it have come at a better time with the fact that now we are all pretty much working virtual, and you think about the great opportunities that brings. So our group last year actually did an analysis of all of the different data centers in the area, and that was something that, believe it or not, was actually not documented. And so they've been building on a project that actually has been carried over for a couple of years. And so it's really important for our region to understand how fortunate we are that we do have this amazing capability right here in the region. It ties us really to Richmond, which I know is one of the other projects that we have which is the mega region. And so when you look at that connectivity, when it comes down to internet connectivity, I mean, that's really key for our economy in order for us to be able to market ourselves to some of these large entities, like, for example, the Googles or the Facebooks of the world or Amazons of the world. They need to have that stable connectivity in order for them to be able to conduct business. And so that puts us on the map for that. And the great way that, we can perhaps also collaborate with Richmond on that, I think, is key, which again kind of leads us into that RVA 757 Connects, which you pointed out was the first time you've seen that logo. It's
first time
brand
I've seen
new.
that logo.
That's an organization that has literally just come fully fledged as an organization, as a nonprofit. But the mega region concept has been something that has been talked about for a very, very long time. There is a gentleman in this community called Tom France, who really is an amazing guy. He has been spearheading this conversation for a very, very long time. And so it really is about trying to help the two communities work together so that we can market ourselves to, obviously companies outside of our region, to help them to see that we have an awful lot of assets right here. And if you combine Richmond and you combine Hampton Roads, you've obviously got a much larger MSA, which puts us on the map. But really, when you boil down to it, it's also about just what we do here at CIVIC, which is building those communication lines and building that trust between leadership in the two communities too. And so that's really one of the key focuses for RVA 757 Connects, is finding projects that will mutually benefit both regions and working together on those on projects. So it's exciting, and I'm honored to be part of that, along with several of our CIVIC alumni as well, to help to advance that, obviously that organization and also that initiative too.
Very cool. All right, let's talk about hospitality.
Yes.
So this was hospitality's school.
Yes.
But I circled hospitality because I think that the focus now is just on hospitality versus hospitality school. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. Hospitality has been one of the industries that really has been hit the hardest with the pandemic. And so we didn't want to drop this as an initiative because we think it's really important. I think it's important for us to help students in the high school arena to really understand that there are career pathways for them. Right here in Hampton Roads, hospitality is one of our key economic drivers. And so, yes, some of the entry-level positions may not be that high paying, but if we can get a skilled workforce in at that level and help them to find those career pathways, ultimately, they might get a great deal of satisfaction. I actually came from the hospitality industry before I came here to CIVIC. And I have to say, the opportunities that you're given by being part of that will set the ground for everything that you do in the future. I honestly do credit my time. I used to work on Carnival Cruise Lines on board the ships. My time on board the ships actually helped me to be able to provide an experience for our class members that would have looked perhaps a little differently if I hadn't had that hospitality background. So the goal is with these projects is to try to market to students the amazing opportunities that are in this field, and the fact that there are opportunities and doors that can open for them the minute that they either step out of high school or they step out of college as well. So that, to me, is really important.
And there's a lot of opportunities in hospitality besides just working in the actual hotel. So I did a little bit of work with Gold Key for a couple of years, and I was impressed at how much of a back office operation they have. They have IT people. They've got basically every skill that you could think of in a normal organization, they have there as well. And plus, like just Gold Key in particular, they run a lot of different types of businesses, not just hotels, and they got restaurants, but there's other things going on there too. I was quite impressed.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And, I think people often just have this pigeonholed look at hospitality, but there's so many amazing opportunities for anybody who wants to work in that industry. And it's fun too. I mean, if you're a people person, it's a really great industry to be in and to learn and to grow from it. And honestly, gaining leadership and management experience from being in that industry is key to anything you decide to do moving forward.
Yeah, totally agree. Oh, look who said hi, Sarah.
I saw that. Hello, Shannon. I am so glad that you are here. She is absolutely super, and I'm hoping at some point she'll come back and she'll mentor some of our current civic scholars. So that'll be kind of fun.
Yeah, Shannon, invitation is open. Well, cool. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, either in here or just in general about Civic?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think I really just want to, point out that I think at this point in time, there's so many different initiatives that are happening out there. I would just encourage people to take a look. The Alliance is doing amazing work with the 757 Recovery Action Framework. And I think that for business leaders in particular, to get involved in that, to really sign up and take advantage of some of the toolkits that they're building for businesses so that we can become a more resilient community are really crucial. CIVIC is working alongside a lot of those initiatives to make sure that we can bring skilled executive leaders to the table and work on some of these projects. But I think, the pandemic has certainly hurt an awful lot of people and hurt an awful lot of businesses. But it's refreshing to see how many people are working together. And then I think my biggest thing I would say is, for CIVIC, it's all about building trust. And I think that we all have an opportunity to reach out and extend a helping hand to people and to find ways that you can give back to the community as well. We all live here. So if we take from the community, we want to make sure that we give back to the community as well. And so there's great organizations out there that can help you be part of that. Again, just giving back to the community, I think, is going to be really key for our region as we start to work into this recovery mode from the pandemic.
And here we have a comment once again from the best civic class ever.
I'm not paying her, by the way. I'm not paying her.
So it's going to go down in history that the civic class of 2019 is the best ever. But Stephanie says, she highly recommends participation in the executive or scholars program. Speaking of which, when is the next time that people can apply for either of those programs, and how do they go about doing that?
That's a great question. So our Civic Scholars and Executive Program has year-round nominations. And so typically we have our alumni send in nominations. These are people that they know in the community that are already engaged in initiatives. But if you're interested, you can certainly reach out to us. That's, we're always looking to find new leadership in the region and new businesses as well to be able to connect with. And for our scholars, again, through our website, they're able to submit their application, and we'll give them obviously an interview for them to be part of the program. But we certainly encourage students that are at Old Dominion University and Tidewater Community College to take a look at the website and to submit their interest forms. So we'd love to see lots of those come in after this. So it's, I think there's so many different opportunities out there, but to learn about the region, I think is really crucial. And it's a way for us all to be able to find ways to be able to connect with each other in a different level.
Love it.
And it looks like Stephanie's nominated you. So I'll look forward to seeing that.
Oh boy. Oh, I didn't see that comment until just now. Oh boy. Oh boy. No, I think it's a gret program. So
thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity today. I really do. We've had a lot of fun today.
That was very insightful. Yeah, and it was fun, and I appreciate your time. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.